right, we are going to go ahead and get the party started. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. I'm Amanda Malone. I've met most of you in the room, but not all of you yet. I'm one of the owners of Roseborough Travel, and today we thank you for joining us for our Viking Cruises experience with Mary Trotter, our BDM. She will be sharing with you everything there is to know and how you want to go. Ready, quick, fast, in a hurry, or if you want to plan ahead on Viking through Roseborough Travel. So take it away.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. Who's been on a Viking cruise before? Okay, just one? Oh, my goodness. I have like a whole new captive audience. I love that. Excellent. So we're going to learn about Viking a little bit. I'm going to stand. I'm going to do this one. So with Viking, a lot of people think of Viking, they think of river cruising. We're a lot more than just river cruising. We can actually go to all 7 continents. We have grown a lot since we started. So we have this idea of Viking as one Viking. So we have Viking River, we have Viking Ocean, but it's all one product. The great thing about having more than just river is maybe you've done a Viking River cruise. You want to look at going on an ocean cruise, we have that. You want to look at going to Antarctica, we have that. So we're going to talk about all of those as we go along. So we started 28 years ago with 2 guys. They had 2 cell phones and they had chartered 4 ships in St. Petersburg, Russia. And they decided to start this little cruise line called Viking. 28 years later, we have almost 90 ships on the European rivers now. We're continuing to grow with that. We have quite a few still scheduled to be built. I believe I heard at the conference a few weeks ago, we'll be at 112 river cruise ships by 2029. So we're growing a lot on river still. And then our ocean ships, people always say to me, wow, I'm so glad you're finally getting into ocean. Well, we've been doing it for a while, for 11 years. So we've been doing ocean cruising for 11 years. They're a small ship experience with less than 1,000 guests. We are at 12 ships currently on ocean. We have a couple more on the way this year. And then we'll actually be, we were saying 20 by 2031, 20 ocean ships, but we're actually going to be at 22. They just announced 2 more ships by 2033. So we're still continuing to grow on ocean. And then we have our expedition ships. We built 2 of those in 2022. Those are built to go to polar regions like Antarctica. 2 of those, we also just announced that we're building 2 more. So sometime 2031, 2032, you're going to see a couple more expedition ships for us. And then we built a Mississippi ship in 2022 as well. So with all those ships, we have over 100 ships. And this is where we can go. 7 continents, 85 plus countries, 500 plus ports, 5 oceans, 21 rivers, and 5 Great Lakes. So we travel all over the world. Every place you see the black in this map, those are places that we can travel to. So lots and lots of options when it comes to Viking. One thing you're not going to see with Viking, though, is something we're very used to here in Florida. We're very used to, we're going to go drive over to Port Canaveral and we're going to get on a ship. You will not do that with Viking. We don't really do the Caribbean. We have like 1 itinerary that, well, 2 technically. We have a West Indies Explorer that's round trip San Juan that does the Caribbean. And our world cruise does hit the Caribbean. So if you have 4 months, and you want to hit the Caribbean through part of that time, you could take our world cruise. But we are a little bit different than the other cruise lines that are out there. We do not try to be everything to everyone. We are adults only. So we're not catering to families and all of that multi-gen trips. We are adults only. So you have to be 18 or older. And we also focus on more mature travelers that are interested in history, culture, geography, and the arts. So we really focus on that 55 plus age group. That doesn't mean you have to be 55 to go on a Viking cruise. In fact, my 25-year-old daughter is on her way to Ireland today for a wedding with her best friend who thinks she's a princess and is getting married in a castle. And she's like, while we're over here, we need to go do more. So she said, hey, Mom, do you have any good Viking cruises that I should take my friends on? So there's some 20-plus-year-olds going on a Viking river cruise next week. So that'll be fun. She's done many river cruises with me, so she's very used to being on Viking. But we really do focus, though, on that more mature, that retired age, because you have more time to travel, less than a week long. Some of them go, like I said, all the way up to that world cruise that's 4 months long. So that's what our focus is. We're also all English speaking. So we only market in English speaking countries. So 90% of our guests are coming from North America. The other 10% would be from Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. We want people to be like-minded and be able to talk about the same current events and speak the same language. So that's why that's our focus. We're also very destination oriented. So everything we do on the ship and off the ship is very focused on the destination. Even when you're at sea, we're focusing on the destination through destination movies and wine tastings and lectures. So very, very focused on the destination. So that becomes important when choosing your cruise. We've all been conditioned in Florida that we are going to pick our destination and then we're going to pick the latest, greatest ship that just came out for that destination. Our ships are identical. So whether you pick a ship that was built in 2017 or one that was built in 2025, they're going to look the same. So you don't need to worry about, this is the ship that I'm on. Everyone always asks me, this is the ship I'm on. Is this a good ship? My response is it a Viking ship? Yes. Then you're going to love it because they all look the same. So you don't have to worry about when the ship was built or anything like that, or which ship you go on. They all look the same. So we bring that destination even into our cuisine. So we locally source our ingredients. So we're giving you authentic dishes from the region. So if you were in Portugal, you're going to have food from Portugal. You're not going to have, food from somewhere else in the world. That's going to be the cuisine that's in our regional menu. So every night in the main dining restaurant, you're going to see a regional menu with foods from the region, a couple different options for you from the region. And then on our river cruises, you'll find it in the buffet on our ocean cruises. On our river cruises, at least once during the cruise, we do this taste of event where you can try different foods from the area that we are in. My best example is I was in Portugal back in November, and I don't know that I'd ever truly tried sardines. Like, there's just this idea that you just don't like them. It's a huge thing in Portugal. Sardines are very important. People love sardines in Portugal. So I didn't want to try it off the regional cuisine. I didn't want that to be my main dish. What if I don't like it? So we had a Taste of Portugal event where they had all this different food from Portugal and Spain, and I tried the sardines. And as suspected, I did not like them. So, but I wasn't stuck to that. Then I was able to try all the other foods on that Taste of event. So we always have that as well on our river cruises. And then we have what's called the Always Available American Classics. So every single night, you're going to find the same 3 items in our Always Available American Classic menu. So you'll always find roast chicken, New York strip steak, and Norwegian salmon. Oh, wow. We are owned by a Norwegian, so he loves his salmon, and we fly it all over the world for him. So we always have those 3 options. If you don't love what's on the regional cuisine, if you want to let me just do my fallback and have my steak, we've got that for you. As far as the type of cruise line we are, so there are different kind of buckets of cruise lines. There's your contemporary cruise lines like Carnival and Royal Caribbean. Then you move up to a premium cruise line like Celebrity and Holland America and Princess. Then you move into those luxury cruise lines. We are considered a luxury cruise line. Who gets the brochures from Viking in the mail? Quite a few of you get those brochures. So you will never see on those brochures us saying the word luxury, because our CEO and our founder, he thinks that means it's a little stuffy. He doesn't like that word. So we don't do formal nights. We don't have butlers. We don't do white gloves. We are a luxury level cruise line with luxury level service, but in a more casual atmosphere. So you're going to get that great luxury level service like the luxury cruise lines. You're not going to have the butlers and the white gloves and the formal nights. It's going to be a lot more casual on board. So we say we're casually elegant, or there's an understated elegance. So this is what's included. You're going to have one shore excursion at every port we go to. So every day you're going to have a tour that's included. Everyone's doing the same tour. You're not in the same tour group. There's about 20 to 30 people in each tour group, usually around 20 to 25. And we break everybody up into different tour groups or different time slots. So you do have the one tour that's included, and then you have some optional ones you can add on. Then you have all of your meals at all of our dining rooms included. Even our specialty restaurants are going to be included in your cruise. You have wine, beer, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner included. So I've noticed that some of you do have some wine and beer right now, and it's not really dinner time or lunch time. So you might want to drink outside of lunch and dinner. You can absolutely do that. We have bars and lounges that are open throughout the ship. You have a few options. You're going to either pay for those a la carte, so outside of lunch and dinner, you're going to pay a la carte for that, or we do have an unlimited beverage package. It's called the Silver Spirits. It is $27 per person per day. So you can't drink for that at home. So you might as well go drink on a Viking cruise. So it's less than $200 a week. And then I'm going to show you at the end, we actually have some specials that include that right now. So now's a great time to book. And then another option is we want to immerse our guests in the destination. So if you are on a winery tour, you stop in a local shop and get local beer or wine or the local drink of the region, you can bring that back on the ship. Feel free to take that to your stateroom. You can bring it to dinner. You can bring it to the bars and lounges. We'll be more than happy to serve that to you. We don't charge any kind of corkage fee like some of the other cruise lines do. So we really want you to experience that drink of the region. We also have specialty coffees and teas. Those are available 24 hours a day, also included. Bottled water. Now, I think a lot of my colleagues do not keep bottled water on this slide. I do, because I've been on way too many cruises because I live in Florida and I go to a lot of conferences. And it's like I'm shocked every time when I walk in my room and there's not bottled water on another cruise line in your stateroom. We make sure you're hydrated. You always have water in your room. Every time you head out on a tour, we give you bottled water. You stop at the bars and lounges, we'll give it to you as well. Free Wi-Fi. So it's the premium level Wi-Fi. You don't need to pay to upgrade your Wi-Fi. It's included. It's that highest level Wi-Fi that you can get. But keep in mind, you are on a cruise ship. And I always mention this because we have these quarterly meetings, especially with our river cruise people over in Basel, Switzerland. They'll say, our reviews were great, but we took a ding on Wi-Fi. And the reason we'll take a ding is because people sometimes forget, oh, I'm on a cruise ship, I'm not at home. I had someone a couple of weeks ago that came up to me and said, Wi-Fi was great for the first half of the cruise, and then it just wasn't. I said, so let's talk about that. Where did you start the cruise? They started the cruise out of New York City. That's where they started. Wi-Fi was great. And then it got bad at one point. I said, when do you feel like it slowed down? It still had Wi-Fi, it was just slower. I said, when did it slow down? They said, oh, when we were in Greenland. Oh, you were in Greenland. So that was the problem. And then it got better again. So it's a satellite Wi-Fi where it's the best Wi-Fi that you can get for a cruise ship. But keep in mind, you're on a cruise ship. So we do have that Wi-Fi included. First class hotels. So some of our cruises are a cruise tour. So they include a land portion. So we'll use first class hotels for that. And then we have your movies on demand, CNBC, CNN, Fox. That's all there available for you as well. You don't need to pay for the movies in your room, which that blows my mind. I went on a cruise a couple of years ago and I went to go hit a movie to see it, and it was like, that'll be $10 to watch a movie that was like 6 years old. I was like, nope, not doing that. We include those as well. So let's look at the ships themselves. So did you do Viking River? Is that what you did? Okay. All right. So here's our river ships. So very different. Has anybody done a river cruise with any cruise line before? A couple of you. Okay. Very different than ocean cruising, right? Very different. They're a long, narrow ship. Here we are. It's a great way to see Europe because you're going right through the middle of Europe. You're going through the heart of the destination. So you're right here, heart of the destination, you walk right off the ship. It's such a great way to see Europe because if you think about the way that the cities were built, they were all built along the rivers. So it's such a great way to see Europe. So here we are right here. You can see just steps away from the city. And then here we are on the Danube and then the Middle Rhine. If you've ever wanted to see lots and lots of castles, the Middle Rhine is where you're going to see those. That's where the most intact castles are. Because a lot of castles were destroyed during World War II. The Middle Rhine has the most that are intact. And then here's the ship. So just kind of giving you a layout of what the ship looks like. So here we are. We've got 190 guests on board. As I mentioned, they all look the same. The only difference is the name on the outside of the ship. It's named after a Norse god. You're most likely not going to know how to say the name of that ship. You might ask me, and I'm also not going to know how to say the name of that ship. True story, I was last month in Amsterdam, and I was on a ship, and I found out later that ship was one of our oldest ships. My vice president, my director of sales, myself, and 3 different people on the crew all said the name of the ship a different way. None of us were saying it the same. So it's named after, it's in Norwegian, so it's named after a Norse god. So the name on the outside, and then there's a picture I'm going to show you. That's the only difference on the ships. They all look the same. 190 guests on board. There's a couple of exceptions. If you go to Portugal and you're on the Douro River, that is a very windy, very narrow river. I didn't understand it until I actually experienced that cruise back in November. It is a very narrow river. I mean, there are times where it's just like one ship can get through the passage. So it is a shorter ship. So it's 106 guests versus 190. Interior-wise, it looks almost the same, but it is a little bit different. And then on the Elbe River, 98 guests versus 190. Because again, another small river. But most of them look just like this one. So a couple things to note. The little windows you see right above the water level, that's deck 1. The smaller windows at the back and at the front, I now know, I used to never know because I never walked all the way down to deck 1 to where it says crew quarters. Now I know that's crew quarters because I did about 75 tours last month of the ship, taking people through the ship to see it. And I walked all the way to the back of that deck many times. So the little windows on the front and back, those are crew quarters. The bigger windows, those are the standard staterooms. That's the only thing on deck 1 are the standard staterooms. Now, river cruising is not set up for those that have mobility issues. You cannot use a wheelchair or scooter on the ship because the hallways the quarters are very narrow, so you can't turn them around. You can bring them on board, store them in your room, and use them off the ship. But as far as on the ship, they just can't be accommodated because of how narrow the hallways are. So I say all that to say the only place there is an elevator is between deck 2 and deck 3. So if you are in a standard stateroom, you will have to take some stairs down to your stateroom. It's 14 steps. They are not steep. I did them, like I said, 75 times last month. So they're not steep, but you do have to take some stairs. So I always say to people, think about yourself, not how you are on day 1. How do you feel day 5? You've walked a few days, you've done a couple miles every day doing tours and things, and then you walk down the stairs day 5 after your tours for the day, you sit down on the bed. Are you able to get back up and walk back up the stairs to dinner? So just ask yourself that question. If you're good, 100% book the standard stateroom. I just want to make sure you know, think through it, because I think we all think in our mind, oh, no problem, we got this. And then we get to day 5, day 6, and we're like, get up the stairs again to go back up to dinner. So just keep that in mind. You do have to take the stairs. So this is the atrium area. Over here to this side, that's where that elevator is. It's between deck 2 and 3. So this is deck 2. This is our atrium. So again, the only difference on the ships is the name on the outside and that picture at the top of the stairs. The picture at the top of the stairs is an abstract painting depicting the Norse god that the ship is named after. There's a little plaque that's there that tells you all about it. And also the coloring on this wall next to the stairs, that can be slightly different in color. Usually some type of brownish color, but really that's the only difference. The decor, everything else looks the same. Also, I love that we have the floor to ceiling windows and the light woods. It makes everything seem more open. River cruise ships, not just Viking river cruise ships, all river cruise ships, the ceilings are less than 8 foot tall. So it can seem very dark on some of the river cruise ships, especially those that have darker colors. Because you have the light colors and the floor to ceiling windows, it seems like it's a much higher ceiling. So lots of light woods throughout the ship. If you head back behind those stairs, you're going to walk into our main dining restaurant. It says the restaurant. That's not a note for me. I know that that's a restaurant. I can tell. That's the name of our restaurant, the main dining restaurant on every single ship we have. River, ocean, expedition, Mississippi. It's always called the restaurant. It's where you do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's the main dining restaurant. We're very simple at Viking, or maybe we just think you aren't going to remember names. I don't know. One of the two. It's the restaurant. The atrium is the atrium. The lounge is the Viking lounge. We've made it very easy for you. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. It is open seating. You can sit wherever you would like. It's not assigned seating, so you're not stuck. If you pick a seat the first night, you're not stuck there. So you'll notice there are not really tables for two in this restaurant. There are 190 people on board, and you can't really hide from people. So you do make friends on these cruises. So I always tell people, maybe start on this side night one. Look for a couple that looks nice. If it doesn't work out, sit on this side the next night. It's totally fine. But I hear these incredible stories of people that have met their best friends on these cruises. My favorite story is there's a couple in Ocala, Florida, two couples in Ocala, Florida. They were at an event like this when I first started with Viking 4.5 years ago. And they had several Viking cruises booked together. And we started, talking about how they met. And they said they were night one in 2018 on the Grand European Tour Viking cruise. They were at dinner. One said, oh, let me sit next to this one. They sat down, started talking about where they were from. They both realized they were from Ocala, Florida, but they also live on top of the world. And the one lives behind the other one, like literally right behind the other one. They became best friends. They travel together. They eat together multiple times a week. So they do everything together now. Fast forward in November, I was back at the same place. They had another couple with them. I was like, oh, thank you for bringing your friends. They said, well, we met these two on another Viking cruise. They were in Australia, New Zealand, in the restaurant at dinner, sat down next to them, found out they also live on top of the world, and they live 2 blocks away from them. So you never know who you're going to meet. You can meet your best friends. Now these 3 couples, they travel everywhere together. They hang out together. They met in the restaurant. So it's open seating. You can sit wherever you would like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. And then you have our Viking bar and Viking lounge. This is up on deck 3. So this is where your entertainment happens. So you have port talks, lectures. Someone that plays the piano and sings is up here. You have afternoon tea here sometimes, some trivia games and things. At least once during the cruise, you'll have local performers come on board to do a destination performance. So someone local from the city that we're in. So it could be singers, dancers, musicians, some great local performance there. Now, as far as activity levels, it really depends on who's on the ship. It has really nothing to do with who the entertainment is, who is doing the piano playing and the singing. It really has to do with the guest. I have been on board where it is dead as could be on night 1 and night 2. And you think, is it the piano player? Then night 2, all of a sudden you walk in and the place is alive and everyone's dancing on the dance floor. And the entertainer is like going to town. He's singing all kinds of great upbeat songs. It really, he or she will pay attention to the what's happening and the vibe of our guests. So it really depends on how our guests are. And then as you head to the back of that lounge area, takes you to Aquavit Terrace. This is our other dining option. So you can do breakfast, lunch, or dinner here as well. So this is a more intimate outdoor seating area. There are several tables indoors as well. Seats about 25 to 30 people here. So if you want to sit here and have a more intimate setting for dinner or lunch, you can do that. You're not going to miss anything if you choose to eat here versus the restaurant. It is the same menu. So if you want to have a more intimate setting, feel free to sit up here. And then we have our sun deck with our walking or jogging track. I've never seen anyone use the walking or jogging track. Every time I say that, someone in the audience is like, I used it. I'm like, well, good for you. I've never seen anybody use it. I've been told people use it. You're right in the heart of the city. So a lot of people just step off the ship and do some walking and jogging there. We have our own herb garden here. We have an organic herb garden. We grow our own herbs for our dishes. We have shuffleboard courts, putting greens. The sun deck really gets used 2 major times throughout the cruise. We are in port usually all day long. We stay as late as we can, If we're in bigger cities like Cologne, Germany, we'll stay until late in the evening. We're in a Christmas market cruise, we'll stay until late in the evening. But we typically stay until late. We are traveling at night. So what are you missing at night? You're missing some factories and lots of locks. Lots and lots of locks. You may go through 10 locks in one night. So that first night, you might notice that people kind of started to disappear when you first set sail. Well, what has happened is everyone's decided that they're going to go to the top deck to see us go through that lock. So everyone's up there that first night to see the lock, and they don't care about the locks anymore after the first night. And I will tell you that's 100% true because I was in Portugal and they have the highest lock in Europe. It's like 140 feet. And it takes a really long time to get through that lock. It's a really great experience. And when we went through it on the way, everybody was out there. Everybody was watching us go through the lock. When we came back, we went through, because it's a round trip situation. When we came back through, nobody was there looking at us go through the lock the second time. So usually, people are intrigued. They want to see it that first time. So it gets a little busy. Another time we really use this is if there is a beautiful area of the river, we don't want you to miss that. So we build the scenic areas into the sailing. We call it Scenic Sailing Day. Everyone comes up here, grabs a drink, sits down, and our program director is going to tell them all the wonderful things that we're passing by. So like the Middle Rhine, that would be one of those areas that we travel during the day, and everyone will come up there. And then this is one of our suites. We have one other suite above this one called the Explorer Suite, but this is the next one down. So on deck 3, we have 7 of these. You've got a little sitting area. It has actually a couch and a chair, and then a full balcony. So it has your 2 chairs and your table. And then in the bedroom area, you have what's called a French balcony, which I'll show you. Then on deck 2 and 3, you have our veranda staterooms. So again, full balcony you can sit out on. I mentioned that because on river cruising, most of our competitors, a lot of them, don't have actual balconies you can sit out on. We have configured our ship in a way that we're able to offer that. So we do have those veranda staterooms. Then we also have on deck 2 and 3 our French balcony staterooms. So that's a sliding door that opens, and then there's just a railing. You can't actually sit out on the balcony. Your French balcony, and then down on deck 1, standard stateroom. So you've got the water level is usually about where those little silver notches are on that wall. That's where our ballast system is. It helps dampen the noise of any kind of noise you would hear. People are, doesn't it get noisy there? It doesn't. I'm always in a standard stateroom. That's where they put the employees when we travel for work. Where we call it the dorms. When it's all of us. When it's you, it's not. When it's all of us that work for Viking, we're trying to figure out what we're going to wear, and we're like, should I wear this dress? Should I wear this one? But a lot of our guests do like the standard staterooms. It's still gets a lot of light in there. I will tell you for reference, and I never realized this until when I was in Portugal on a slightly different ship. One of my colleagues, I'm 5'2", I'm short. So one of my colleagues who's 6'3" said to me, so are you enjoying looking out the window? And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you can see out the window on the ship. So I guess I never knew this. The windows are down lower. In Portugal, they're like right here is where they start. So I could see out the window. But apparently this window, and I didn't realize, I was back on the ship last month and I went and looked, and yeah, the window's like right here on me. So the window's at 5'2". So if you're taller than 5'2", you're going to see right out the window. But apparently I can't see out the window. So it took someone much taller than me to point that out to me. I'm just used to not seeing things. So I didn't think about it. But that's your standard stateroom. So it looks just like the other staterooms, just you don't have an actual door that opens. And then I want to show you a couple of itineraries that are popular, but also we do have a couple of sales and things that are happening. So as we go along, what I've started doing, because we had a sale that started last week, where some of our 2026 sailings that still had a little space have free international economy air for 2026 select sailing. And I never talk about that, but it's such a good sale. I wanted to make sure I kind of pointed it out if you're looking for something still for 2026. We have sailings out all the way through 2029. On river, we have them out through 2028. So this is the Romantic Danube. It's in our top 3 most popular itineraries on river. It is Budapest to Regensburg, Germany, or you can start in Regensburg, Germany and go to Budapest. It's a week-long cruise. This one's great because you actually get quite a bit of time in the cities, rather than just a lot of our cruises like the Rhine, you're in a different city every day. This one, you get the overnight in Budapest. So you do get that full, 2 days there. You get 2 days in Vienna, 2 days in Regensburg at the end. Normally when you're on a river cruise, if like it were to end in Regensburg, you would go straight to the airport and you would never see it. This one, you actually get to spend some time in Regensburg. So great itinerary. There are a few dates. I want to say like August, July through September. I saw a few dates that had that free international economy air. I think there's like an upgrade or something available with that too. But if you're looking for 2026, there's still a little space there. 2027, 2028, I have a different offer that I'll show you that's available. But if you're looking for something last minute, this is one I would look at. Another one that still has a little space for 2026 is Grand European Tour. So this is the Rhine and the Danube combined. So most people start with either the Rhine or the Danube. If you have a full 2 weeks, it's a great value to go over and just do it all in one cruise because you're already there at one time. So this one, also same thing. I saw like July to September, I did see some free international economy air options for this one. That's a huge deal right now because if you looked at airfare pricing recently, it's with fuel, it's gone way up. So I'm trying to help you out if you're still looking for something for 2026. This is where to focus. So Grand European Tour, really, really great itinerary doing the Rhine and the Danube. And you can start either in Amsterdam or in Budapest, so either direction. And then another one that still has some space for 2026 and has that free international air on select dates, Lyon to Avignon. So for wine lovers, this is a great one. You've got Lyon, Vienne, France, Arles, France, Avignon, France, really, really great itinerary. This one never has space the same year. We added, we had a few ships that got done a little early from something, and so we moved them into this itinerary. So that's how we still have some space on this one, because normally this one is very full, much farther out. But this one still has a little bit of space. It's hit or miss. You're not going to get the most preferential cabins, but there will be a few staterooms available. And then, so those are the ones that really have some space for 2026. There's all kinds of incredible itineraries. The Rhine Getaway is our most popular one. For river, it is sold out for 2026. 2027, 2028 has plenty of space for that. Capitals of Eastern Europe, Passage to Eastern Europe, those are great ones. Paris to the Swiss Alps gives you the Rhine and a land portion together, which is really great. So lots and lots of options. Just for the sake of time, I can't go through them all, but many of them are in the brochures you have there. Then I wanted to touch on our Christmas markets. So Christmas markets, so important. Our cruises, the itineraries used to always be the same, whether you were going in July or you were going at Christmas time. And I think part of that is people that live in Europe, especially, I feel like, and I hate to say this, but I know our men that work in our office in Basel, Switzerland, and they don't get it, but like the women that work in that office, they get it. They just did not understand how important the Christmas markets were to us as females here in America that have watched a lot of Hallmark movies. That have a lot of Christmas markets in them the last few years, and it makes you want to go. So we just weren't spending time in the markets. We were still keeping the same itineraries and getting back on the ships when people want to be in the market at night. So they listened, they did a survey, and in 2024, they changed the itinerary. So now they're Christmas on the Rhine. They have new Christmas delights. So we changed them up. We're now in the markets later in the evening, and we got rid of things like seeing the windmills and Kinderdijk. Save that for July. Save that for April. You don't care about that in December. You want to see the market. So we changed up the itineraries during the Christmas season. We added more things as far as Christmas activities on the ship. We do gingerbread decorating. We do some Christmas sing-alongs, Christmas quiz, Christmas tree trimming. So we added more activities on board the ship. And then this is the Christmas on the Rhine. So to kind of show you the differences, normally on the Rhine, this day 2, you would be in kindergarten to see the windmills. But we made that a scenic sailing day so that we can get to Cologne earlier, and we normally stay in Cologne till late in the evening. And then we got rid of, normally we go to Rudesheim, which is a cute little German town. It's cute, but there's no good Christmas market there, and you want to see the market. So we added Mannheim, Germany, which has some great markets. Strasbourg already has great markets. So we just changed it up a little bit during the Christmas season. Just a little pro tip, not even a pro tip, like maybe in between amateur and pro. If you are going to the Christmas markets, you don't expect to go to the Christmas markets on December 22nd or 23rd and see a ton of stuff at the Christmas markets, because it's very different than like a local Christmas market here. Locally, when we have a Christmas market in town, it's just all the local people from your city. People come from all over the world, not just the country, from all over the world to have these booths at these markets. So they're making ornaments and crafts and bringing their food from the region that they're in. And they're there for that season, and that they make a ton of money during that season. They come in from everywhere. By like the 22nd, 23rd, they're going home for Christmas. And it takes them a little bit of travel to get home for Christmas. So just know if you're looking for Christmas markets, be done by like December 22nd. If you go between Thanksgiving and December 22nd, you're going to see everything you want to see. But just keep that in mind, because I've had people say, oh, I went on December 23rd and nobody was there. Yes, I have experienced that too, but I was not on a cruise specifically for a Christmas market. I just happened to be in Rome on December 23rd. It said it was the biggest market. There were literally 4 booths left, and there's normally like 70 booths. So make sure you go before December 22nd. Okay, moving on to our ocean ships. So here's our ocean ships. They're all built identical, just like our river ships. So beautiful ships, less than 1,000 guests on board. All of our new ships that are coming out starting this year actually will have 0 emissions, which is important in ocean cruising because so many cities are saying, and ports are saying you can't come in anymore because of the emissions. And we're very, very aware of our environment. In fact, our CEO has a PhD in physics from Harvard. And so he's very aware of the environment. Something he's constantly looking at. He's from Norway. The Norwegian fjords are very important to us, and we want to make sure our emissions are already really low, that our new engines are going to have 0 emissions. So something that's big for us. So less than 1,000 guests on board. So it's a small ship class. We do not allow more than 2 people per stateroom on any of our ships, including ocean. So even in our 1,500 square foot owner suite, the maximum occupancy is 2 people. By doing that, it makes the ship never feel full. I take people on the cruises with me sometimes. They're like, I thought you said the ship was full. It is full. We just limit the capacity, so it never feels that way. So here, just a couple reminders of kind of what Viking is not. So we mentioned we don't allow children, but we do things a little bit differently than some other cruise lines. So we don't have casinos on board for a couple reasons. First of all, we don't want to nickel and dime people. We don't want you to feel like, oh, I don't know I have money. I would love to say everyone wins at the casino, but that doesn't always happen. But also we want to immerse people in the destination. So on most cruise lines, when you have that day at sea, a lot of people spend time in the casino. We want people to still be immersed in the destination, even when we're at sea. So on those sea days, we have lectures, we have destination movies, we do wine tastings, we do lots of destination performances and events to keep you immersed in the destination even when you're at sea. And we have very few sea days. I spoke at an event last evening, and someone said, I don't know that it's for me. And they said, because, you'll have a lot of sea days. And I explained to them, we're a smaller ship, so we can go into smaller ports than some of the other cruise lines. Last summer, I did a 14-night cruise, 2 weeks. I had 1 sea day in 14 nights. So every day we're in a port. In fact, I was like, by day 9, I'm like, can we please have a sea day? I'm dying every morning. I'm out in the port. So very, very port intensive with our cruises. Not a lot of sea days. We also don't do photography sales. We don't do art auctions. Our beautiful spa area, it's a hydrotherapy circuit there. That's included. You don't need to book a spa treatment or pay for the week to use that. We include that in your cruise fare. We don't have, when you go to the spa also, if you do, sometimes you go and you get a massage and you're all relaxed and you get to the end, they're like, have a seat here. And then they try to sell you all the stuff at the end. We don't do that. There's no pressure at the spa to spend any money on anything. Our laundrette, so that's our self-service laundry. So we have washers and dryers and laundry detergent that is included on every single deck that there's a guest room. Some of our room categories do include laundry services, but some people maybe just want to wash a pair of underwear or something, or a pair of socks. So you can go and do that. I have met women and men that find laundry therapeutic, and they're in that laundry room every day. I don't get it. I don't like doing laundry. I avoid it at all costs, but we do have the self-service laundry there available for our guests. And then here's what the ships look like. So again, they're all identical. They all look just like this one. The only difference is the name on the outside. So your beautiful atrium area, your living room area is off the atrium. You've got comfy chairs and couches. Lots of bookshelves everywhere throughout this ship. So you can grab a book off any of the bookshelves. Feel free to read that throughout your cruise. Just leave it laying around. If you're done with it, they'll put it back where it belongs. Then we have our Explorer's Lounge. It's a 2-story lounge. Beautiful lounge with floor-to-ceiling windows. Great views here. We have a great little bar called Past Explorers Bar that's open all day and night there. This up on the 2nd story of the Explorer's Lounge. Great place to sit down and read a book. So in the Explorer's Lounge, we'll do a little more light entertainment in the evening. So during the day, we might have some music going. We'll do maybe a trivia event right before dinner. And then after dinner, we typically will have a guitar player or piano player, something like that. We have our Star Theater, which is our main production theater. We don't do big Broadway shows. They're more variety type acts. So we have a quartet that's 2 guys and 2 girls and a live band. They do opera review, Beatles review, country music, hits of the decades, a Broadway review. So several different shows that they review type shows they do. And then we have local performers that come on board. I've seen Italian singers. I've seen a violinist from Oslo, Norway with us on board. So lots of great entertainment that happens at the main show in the Star Theater. And then we do have a nightclub on board. Don't have an official picture. I recently asked someone, why can't I have a picture of that? And they said, Mary, it's a speakeasy. Like the whole idea is it's kind of hidden away. It's called Torshaven. So that's our nightclub. It has a live band and goes until late into the evening. So lots of great entertainment. We have resident historians on board. So we bring on guest lecturers like a lot of cruise lines, but we also have resident historians, which are kind of like our college professors on board. They have office hours, they have forums, they do lectures. They're really the experts on the destination that we're in. And then here's our main pool. So it does have a retractable roof. So we can have that closed if it's inclement weather. The pool is heated. So you can swim here. I've seen people swim here in December. And then if it's beautiful outside, we can open that up and we can use some hot tub bars here, destination movies. Then at the back of the ship, we have our infinity pool. So it's got a hot tub here as well. So you will notice I'm not showing any water slides or go-karts or coasters or anything like that. That is not our demographic. It's nice, relaxing, heated pools on board. So that's what we have available for you. So 8 dining options in total on the ship. You have our main dining restaurant, the restaurant, breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. Open seating, or if you want to sit with someone, there are lots of tables for 2 here. If you want to sit with someone, you just tell them, I'd like to have someone join me, and they'll do that. Manfredi's is one of our specialty restaurants. It's an Italian restaurant with fresh made pasta. It's incredible. You need to make a reservation, but there is no charge to eat here. So it is included. So depending on the room category you book, you'll get to make so many reservations prior to arrival. Once you're on board, you can make as many reservations as you would like. One of my daughters went with me on my last Viking ocean cruise for vacation last year, and she loves Italian food. In 14 days, we ate there 5 times. She loves Italian food. So she's like, can we go there again? So you can get in if you're okay with eating a little bit later, like 7:30 rather than 6. But you do make some reservations ahead of time if you'd like. Then Momsen's Norwegian Deli. Momsen's is mother in Norwegian. So in this area, this is actually right off the Explorers Lounge. We have Momsen's Norwegian Deli and Pat's Explorers Lounge. It's named after our CEO's mother and father. So these were recipes that were found in our CEO's mother's cookbook. So it's great Norwegian food. You've got Norwegian sandwiches and desserts, some split pea soup in the evening. It's incredible. Then we have our winter garden. That's where we do afternoon tea every afternoon at 4 p.m. One of the most popular things on board the ship. It's done the right way. I'm a little bit of a tea snob. One of my daughters lives in New York and works at a tea room. So I want tea done the right way, and we do it the right way. So I love that we do that. Then we have the chef's table. That is another one of our specialty restaurants. We have 2 specialty restaurants. That's a food and wine pairing. It's a 5-course meal paired with different wines at each course. It's a special menu put together by our executive chef. It changes every couple of days. So it might be Asian cuisine a couple of days, and French cuisine, and then California cuisine. But again, that's included. You just need to make a reservation. You have the World Cafe and Aquavit Terrace. That is our, for lack of a better word, our buffet. We don't like to use the word buffet, but it's a buffet. It's got your food stations with your regional cuisine. You have homemade gelato. That's the only place I've ever seen a line on a Viking cruise is for that homemade gelato. Pizza, you've got sushi. We make sushi every evening. But great place there. You've got your pull grill for your burgers and hot dogs. And then we have 24-hour room service included. So if you want to have breakfast in bed, you can. You can actually pre-order it if you'd like. And then in the evening, if you want to have some pasta or a steak at night and just stay in your room, you can do that as well. And then here's one of our most popular suites. This is our Explorer Suite. It's got a full living room area, this beautiful veranda with your veranda chairs, and then this bathroom. And I showed this suite because this is the only stateroom category that has a bathtub. Everything else, all of our other staterooms have showers. So even our owner's suite has a shower. So here you've got this little bathtub shower combo. It's kind of like a wet room. And I also use this picture to point out a couple of things that are attention to detail. All of our bathroom floors are heated floors. Even on river, they are heated floors. So you have nice heated floors. So if it's cold getting out of the shower, you've got those heated floors turned on. It's nice and warm. Anti-fog mirrors, so you don't have to wipe down the mirrors. But most importantly are those toiletries. That's the blue and white you see there. So our toiletries are color-coded. Blue is for white is for your face, blue is for your body. No, white is for your hair, blue is for your body. So they're color-coded. And also, they are large font. That way you know if you're using lotion or conditioner on your hair. It's an important thing to note. And you're not wearing your readers in the shower. So we make sure it's large font so you can see what it is that you're using. True story, our CEO was at a hotel when we were redoing our toiletries a few years ago. He did not know if he had shampoo or conditioner or what he had. And he said, if I need my readers to read this, so do our guests. So he changed it. It said we need large font on these things. And then this is the lowest room category that you can book, the deluxe veranda. So you've still got everything's a veranda. No inside staterooms, no even ocean view staterooms. Everything has a veranda on our ocean ships. You've got a couple things that are attention to detail. That desk, the top of it lifts up, and it's a lighted mirror and a place for your makeup. So you don't have to fight over a light for your makeup. And then a couple of itineraries I wanted to tell you about, just like I did with River, that still have some space for 2026. And there's also some free international economy air on these. So this is the iconic Western Med. This is actually our most popular ocean cruise. It's from Barcelona to Rome or Rome to Barcelona. That's a great one. I've done that one actually a couple of times. It's Ancient Med Treasures from Istanbul to Athens. That kind of walks in the footsteps of Paul on Istanbul to Athens. And then Italian Sojourn, Rome to Venice. I have no idea why there's space left on that one. I keep trying to convince my boyfriend that we need to go on that cruise. He is not committed to it yet. But make him commit. So Italian Sojourn, that is a really, really Great one from Rome to Venice. And then here's another one. This is one of our most popular ones. This is the one I did last summer. Incredible cruise from Bergen to London, or you can start in London and end in Bergen. It's going to take you to Scotland, to very little bit of Ireland, but a whole lot of UK in this one. You end up in or begin in Norway. Really, really great one. I think the reason there's a little space left on this one is because you only go to Belfast and Dublin. So there's not much Ireland in this one. And there's a new itinerary called British Isles and Ireland, because people ask for more Ireland when they went to the British Isles. So I think people are booking more of that than this one. But this is an incredible cruise. I absolutely loved doing this one. So this one has that little bit of space from like July to December. And some of the dates do have that free economy air. And then Venice to Adriatic and Greece. That's another one that still has a little space the rest of this year. 1 week long from Venice to Athens, or Athens to Venice. If you've ever wanted to see Croatia and Montenegro in one trip, do it on a cruise. I will 100% tell you that's what you need to do. I had to do kind of like a conference type thing where it was a land tour, and we were staying in Dubrovnik, and we went over to Kotor, Montenegro. It took us 2 hours to get across the border. So each way. So I never want to do land again from Croatia to Montenegro. And the thing that was so frustrating to me is that we woke up, we saw a ship outside of our hotel. It was a Viking ship outside of our hotel. We got to Montenegro. There was a Viking ship right there at the port. And I was like, if we would have just been on a Viking cruise, we wouldn't have had to do all of that. We would have just gone to bed and woke up, and here we were. So really, really great one. Croatia and Montenegro are absolutely beautiful. And of course, Venice, great cruise there. Then trade routes of the Middle Ages. That's from Bergen to Barcelona or Barcelona to Bergen. This is another really great cruise. This one has a few more sea days. I think that's 3 on this one. And then all kinds of cruises on ocean. Closest to home would be out of Fort Lauderdale and going to the Panama Canal. So that would be the close to home option for us. And then our expedition ships. So these are 378 guests on board. We have 2 of these ships. They have Pontus and Polaris. They were built in 2022 to go to polar regions like Antarctica. So here we are in Antarctica. We actually do the landings in Antarctica. Some cruises go to Antarctica, but you don't get off the ship. We get off the ship. We go and do landings every day in Antarctica. Expedition is not considered, people that go on expeditions don't like the word cruise. They're on an expedition. They're not on a cruise. So they're with their expedition guides. That's who you see here. Those expedition guides, there's usually about 20 on board. They have different areas of expertise like botany, zoology, history, ornithology, and they are there to guide you and help you learn all about the different destinations that we're going to. Here's the Zodiacs. That's what we use to do our landings in Antarctica. Everyone gets to do that every day. That's included. We have our kayaks. Those are included. We take those out every day. A lot of expedition lines don't include the kayaks. We do. The subs are not included. There is a fee to use the subs. You have a driver and then 6 people in it, 2 on each ship. And then we have our 2 12-seater special operation boats. Now, these are unique to us. These were boats that were built for the Norwegian military. So they're a military-grade boat. I love these because when I talk to people about Antarctica, I'll be talking to a couple, and there's the one person that really wants to go to Antarctica. Then there's the person that has to go with them to Antarctica, right? So that happens a lot. So maybe that person doesn't feel comfortable getting on a Zodiac and going and doing a landing. This will still get them off the ship. They won't be able to do the landing, but it will get them closer to the shore where they can get a little bit better vantage point and get some scenic sailing in. These boats were actually built for the Norwegian military to be dropped from a helicopter into the water. So they're very sturdy. We will not be taking you on that excursion on this cruise. No dropping ships, things from a helicopter into the water. But it just shows you how sturdy they are. People feel very comfortable on them. So it's something that's unique to us that we have. We have 2 on each ship. And then here we are headed out to do, on the Zodiacs, headed out to do our landings. So the ship looks very similar to our ocean ships, just in miniature, 378 versus less than 1,000. on board. You've got your living room area. Aquavit Terrace, there are a lot more tables indoors than outdoors in Aquavit Terrace. And then you've got that beautiful spa area. So we have a similar spa area on our ocean ships. We have Expedition Central. This is where our expedition guides spend time. They're not out doing the landings with our guests. So you can spend time with them here. We launch a weather balloon once during the week for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. All that information gets fed back to this screen, and we tell our guests all about it. We have 3 science labs on board with 2 science students from the University of Cambridge that are writing all kinds of scientific papers. So we're very academic and scientific on board. Here is our Explorer Suite on board. So you've got your full living room area and then a bedroom area. And then this is the lowest room category, the Deluxe Nordic Balcony. So it's a floor-to-ceiling window because we are in polar regions a lot on this ship. So people don't want to sit outside, but they still want to be able to have great views. So it's a floor-to-ceiling window with like a little lounging area right inside of there. Floor-to-ceiling window, you push a button and the top of it comes down and there's a railing. So it can create, if you want to open the top of it, you can. And then this is what we do when we're in Antarctica. We fly to Buenos Aires, Argentina. You spend the night in the hotel for the first night. We include that hotel stay. The next day, we fly you to Ushuaia. It is a small airport in Ushuaia. We want to make sure everybody gets there on time because once the ship takes off, you can't catch up to it in Antarctica. There's no way to catch up with the ship in Antarctica. So we fly everyone to Ushuaia on charter planes, and then we take you across onto the ship, go across the Drake Passage. You spend 6 days in Antarctica. You're going to do a landing every day, back to the Drake Passage, around Cape Horn, and then back to Ushuaia. And then we're headed there. So we're there during the Antarctic summer. The average temperature from November to March is in the 30s. In fact, when we had that freeze back in like February, when it was like 30 degrees here, it was warmer in Antarctica than it was here. I looked at it because I was just curious. It was like 38 degrees one day. So it's we do that from November to March, and then we head north to the Great Lakes. So here we are as we head to the Great Lakes. So that's where we're at right now. We're actually transitioning as we head to the Great Lakes. We visit all 5 Great Lakes through the summer. So we are there May to September in the Great Lakes. I would say it's expedition light, not really expedition when you're in the Great Lakes, because you are going to do some things that are very urban, like Cleveland, Ohio. But then you're going to go to Mackinac Island and things like that. Georgian Bay, Ontario, Canada, beautiful spots. There are some incredibly beautiful spots in the Great Lakes. You just don't think about it because we're so used to going to other countries to see these beautiful things. We have so many beautiful spots here in North America. Here's a shorter one. This is Toronto to Milwaukee, or you can do Milwaukee to Toronto. No, this one is specifically just Toronto to Milwaukee. So sometimes people will say to me, oh, I want to do the Great Lakes because I'm able to just drive my car and then I don't have to fly. Sounds in theory great, but if you drive all the way up to Toronto, when you end in Milwaukee, your car is in Toronto. So there's very few that are round trip on the Great Lakes. Most of them will start in one place and end in another. There's a couple that are round trip, but most are starting in one and ending in another. I think you can do some like back to back sometimes. I think sometimes they'll do like Toronto to Milwaukee and then Milwaukee to Toronto. So that might be an option because it's not the same itinerary when you go from Milwaukee to Toronto. They do different stops. So that's what we do from May to September. Now, one of the ships in July, we just started this last July, will go up to the Northwest Passage to Nook to the Arctic Circle. So if you want to see the Arctic Circle and see the polar bears, you can do that now with Viking from July to September. So we have a Nook to Toronto, Toronto to Nook, and round trip Nook. So if you want to see the Arctic, you can do that now with Viking. If you want to go from Arctic to Antarctica, we have that option for you. It takes 83 days to do it, but you can do it. And then last but not least is our Viking Mississippi ship. So 386 guests on board this ship. Beautiful ship. It doesn't look like some of our competitors. It's not got that steamboat or paddle wheel feel to it. Looks a lot like our ocean ships interior wise. It does 8 to 22 day voyages. Up until now, it's been the Mississippi. So normally I put some itineraries here, but I'm waiting for them to update my slides with the new itineraries. We've added in 2027 the Ohio River as well. So I feel like I'm going to be an expert because I grew up in Indiana on the Ohio River, and then I lived 12 years in Evansville, Indiana. Yeah. So grew up right on the Ohio, drums on the Ohio, all those things that we did. So I know the Ohio River really well. But I also lived in St. Louis on the Mississippi River for 12 years after I got out of college and moved to St. Louis. So I now know, I think I'm the most knowledgeable on our sales team that does these things because I'm the only one that's lived on both rivers. So there are some new itineraries. You can see them now. They are not in these books because they were recently announced and they're going to reprint these in July. But online they have them. Roseborough Travel, they can look those up for you too if you're interested in the ones that include the Ohio River. But all 18 to 22-day voyages. Here's what the ship looks like. Beautiful ship. You've got the restaurant on board. One thing we don't have on board this ship that we have on our other ones, Momsen's Norwegian Deli. We found out we did have it. No one cares about Norwegian food on the Mississippi. They want Mrs. food that you find on the Mississippi. So we got rid of that. We added a second coffee shop. So you've got the restaurant, Explorer's Lounge, just like what you saw on our ocean ships. This beautiful bow area. This is unique to our Mississippi ships. There is a small infinity pool on this ship as well. The staterooms look very similar to our ocean staterooms. One thing that's also a little different on the Mississippi ships is we talked about the destination performances, the local entertainment that comes on once during our cruises. It's different on Mississippi. We have local entertainment every single night on the Mississippi ships because entertainment is so important to the culture of the Mississippi. So we've added that every single night on the Mississippi. So another thing that's different on the Mississippi ships, it's our only fully ADA ship. So you've got kneeling buses for our tours. We have Viking buses and our own Viking tour guides that follow you along every day on your tours. We also have ADA staterooms. So when you look at the staterooms, people will see the French balconies and go, oh, I'm going to book a French balcony because it's bigger than the veranda. It's only bigger because it's an ADA stateroom, so there's more space for wheelchairs and scooters. So the French balconies are all ADA with the hearing accessibility in the bathrooms that are all one level. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. So as far as sales, we talked about some of those 2026 ones that have some free air. Deposits are just $25 per person. And this month, until the end of the month, till the 30th, we do have what's called our Your Choice sale. So we've done this a few times over the last few months, over the last year. Every once in a while, we'll do this Your Choice sale. So what the Your Choice sale is you can choose, do you want to have shipboard credit to use, or do you want to have the gratuities and the beverage package included? So people will ask me, which do I choose? If the better value, what's worth more is the Silver Spirits beverage package and gratuities. The average cost of those two together per week is just over $300 per week. If you do a 1 week long cruise and you choose the gratuities, it's $250 per person gratuities that you're getting. The $500 is once you get to, I think it's like 11 days or more, something like that. But if you don't care about the beverage package, if you're like, I don't care about the beverage package, I don't need that, the beer and wine with lunch and dinner is totally fine. Take the shipboard credit. You can use the shipboard credit towards your gratuities. So just an idea. Next question, you're going to ask me how much are gratuities, right? Usually $20 per person per day. So for a week, $140. So you've still got $110, did I get it right? $110 left in your shipboard credit for the week. So that's something that's, you can choose. That's the Your Choice sale. That's available for every cruise we have out there. Unless you're doing one of those special offers for the 2026, that's a completely different offer. But anything you book, you can get that Your Choice sale. And then in addition, if you book with Roseborough Travel in the next 2 weeks, so by the 30th, by the end of the month, you will get another $100 per person shipboard credit. You only get that through Roseborough. If you call up reservations and say, I really liked Mary, she was great, and she says, I get this $100, they have no clue who I am. But I also, in fairness, don't know who they are. So There are like 600 people in that reservations team. So, every once in a while, one of them will send me a message about something, but you have to book through Roseborough. This is an exclusive sale for them. So what questions do you have? Any questions from anyone? Yeah.
Stable are the smaller seagoing vessels in terms of, I have the idea that the smaller ship you would feel currents more the weight.
Many of our cruises don't go super deep into the sea. You've got the stabilizers and things. One of my daughters that travels with me, she gets very seasick. And she actually likes the smaller ships better. She hasn't really struggled as much on the smaller ships. Yeah, you'll feel it, but we're just not in as much open water as you would be, say, on those bigger ships. I will say, if you're looking at doing In Search of the Northern Lights in the North Sea in January or February, you're going to feel it. It gets, it gets rough when you're in that time frame in the winter, but that's when you see the Northern Lights. So it's just kind of something you gotta deal with. And I will say Antarctica, that's an even smaller ship, but just Drake Passage. Don't go Googling Drake Passage, you'll see crazy stuff. Drake Passage is either really rough or like a lake. So going to Antarctica can be super easy, or it can be a little rough. So some people are like, I'm just going to take Dramamine, the drowsy kind, and go to sleep for the next 8-9 hours. So it really just depends on where you are, the itinerary you're doing. But like I said, my daughter, she gets very, very sick, and she's never had a problem. She's been on 3 ocean cruises now.
When it says that economic airfare, can you upgrade it?
You can. Yep. To premium economy and business class.
So,
Premium economy or business class. So you can upgrade, yes. I don't know. The price varies based on the itinerary.
does it have, you use a specific airline?
So we use all the major air carriers. If you do just say you're going to do the free airfare option, or we always have reduced air, pricing on airfare is always less. What happens is we just send you an itinerary, and this is your itinerary. If you want to have a little more say in your flights and say, hey, I only want to go on Delta, I only want to go on American, you can pay $150 per person. It's called Air Plus, and you can work with the air department, or Roseborough can work with the air department to get better flight options for you. Not that your flight option wouldn't be good, it's just you don't get any choice in it. It's just going to send you like, here's your flights. And that's where it is. And most people are fine with that. But if you're specific, like I'm a Delta girl, and I only ever want to go on Delta. So they love me at work. Like, I don't care, Delta at all time. So in those, if you're specific to a specific airline, you want to do Air Plus. So you can request that. What other questions?
Scandinavia. They're building a new museum to house the world's largest Viking ship.
Okay.
So,
In Oslo.
Yes.
Also, so,
Yes.
yeah. When is it going to be ready in like a person?
I don't know when it's going to be ready, but I'm sure there will be an optional tour. Because that's so much a part of our heritage. That I believe the Viking Homelands cruise has Oslo in it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm sure that if it's not an included tour, it will be an optional one, because that's so much a part of our heritage. Yeah. In fact, when you look at our ships, all of our ships, there's always a representation of a Viking ship somewhere within it. So like when you look at our river ships, you'll see like on the guest services, there's these slats, and it looks like it's just kind of like a slatted, desk area, but that's reminiscent of the way that the Viking ships were built and the way that the wood was put together. We do that throughout our ships. Even when you go on our ocean ships, even the coverings on the windows in the atrium are reminiscent of the way that the Viking ships were built and the way that the build was put together. Can't think of the word right now. You know what I'm talking about. Can't think of the word. But I've said it about 45 times a month ago. But you can see how that we really bring that heritage in. We even have like this little heritage area on our ocean ships that goes back to all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure that's going to be a huge part of something we do on the Viking home. It's good. So yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Only just on the Grand European tour is the, air.
If you do 2026, we do have dates with the free economy air. If you're doing 2027, 2028, you can do that your choice sale. So the free
Oh,
beverage package and gratuities or the shipboard credit. Yeah. And if you have any other questions about anything, Roseborough Travel, they know Viking very well. We'll be happy to help you and walk you through it. And I appreciate everyone being here today.
We provided everybody sign-in sheets and we have a little door prize. So we'll go around and collect the sign-in sheets. You didn't get a sign-in sheet? No, we get an extra sign-in sheet over here. That is, yep, that's what that is. That's the thing that was in the chair. We'll give you a moment to fill that out.
So right now.
Do you mind grabbing me some of the ones from the back row there? Please? Mary. So thank you so much, Mary, for joining us today and sharing about Viking. And if any of you have questions, we'll hang around for a little bit. We'll answer any questions and we'll be happy to get you all the latest and greatest deals, promotions, and amazing adventures you can go on with Viking. So thank you. We have one thing about this. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you can.
just draw mine when you do it.
Just draw your, right? It's like, okay, I gotta make sure I have the right name. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No, she.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a question?
Any other
Do they
questions?
start at the beginning or the end? European, Grand European tour.
Either direction.
Either direction.
Definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
The rivers are amazing. I heard her talking a little bit about it, and don't think you're gonna have downtime. You are going to be busy.
Yeah.
And only if you want downtime will you get downtime. You will have an amazing experience going and exploring the world, and it is the best way to travel. Going through the world with stopping off in little towns and villages and ports.
Yeah.
Cologne Cathedral at Christmas time is incredible. You're gonna have an amazing experience.
And you don't have to carry a suitcase.
You don't know exactly. You're not packing.
Yeah,
You're not
that
packing a movie.
Yeah,
House
that's
20
huge.
times. You're going on your floating, luxurious hotel through the rivers and it's having an amazing experience. And of course, oceans.
Yeah.
There's so many people who love Viking Ocean. And while my child is here today, definitely child free is the way to go. Do I have I know I have one more, but do I have anybody else's signed in sheet that we need to get? I'm gonna let Mary be the one to pick it.
Oh no, the pressure.
You are in charge of this. There we go. Thank you. Just fold them like in the last special. We're gonna mix them up. Mix them up. Butter cup.
And then
Ready
it'll
to
look.
go.
Okay.
All right. You're picking.
These. Eddie?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today.